Senator Tim Kaine discussed a provision in the Inflation Reduction Act on the Senate floor Saturday. Kaine described the provision as combining, quote, the three pillars of the act and would be a, quote, permanent funding fix for the Black Lung Benefit Program. The legislation is a scaled-down version of the Build Back Better bill, a multi-trillion-dollar climate and social safety net package that Democrats failed to pass last year. On Sunday, all 50 Senate Democrats voted for the bill, and all 50 Republicans voted against it, with Vice President Kamala Harris, as President of the Senate, casting the tie-breaking vote.
Madam President, I rise to speak about a very important provision in the Inflation Reduction Act that combines the three pillars of the Act: health care, energy, and tax reform. That provision is a permanent funding fix for the Black Lung Benefit Program. And I dedicate this floor speech to all my friends who are Virginia coal miners, to their retirees, to their families, and I especially dedicate it to my friends at the United Mine Workers, including a dear friend, President Cecil Roberts. I came to Virginia in 1984, never having been in Virginia. I grew up in Kansas, and I didn't really know too much about the coal industry. But I married my wife, Ann, 38 years ago, and part of her family is from Big Stone Gap, Virginia, in the heart of Appalachia, those counties in southwestern Virginia: Wise, Lee, Dickinson, Russell, Buchanan, Scott, that have coal mining as a very heart of their economies. And it's not only coal mines, but it's the miners themselves, many of whom drive across state lines to work in West Virginia or Kentucky, and their families, and they've done it for generations. And long before I got into politics, once I married my wife from Appalachia, I got to know these miners. It's a tough job. It's a scary job. It's a dangerous job. But these miners do it every day because the nation needs power, because our steel mills need steel to build aircraft carriers and submarines and skyscrapers, and they do this, and many of them have done it for generations. I also, in coming to know these miners long before I got into politics, on family visits, I realized what a patriotic bunch of people they are. They have a disproportionately high rate of service in the military when they're young before they undertake this dangerous, dangerous job. I'd been in Virginia for about 5 years, and there was a major strike of these miners, the Pittston strike, in southwest Virginia in 1989. It actually was from April of 1989 all the way till February of 1990, and it was a strike that was driven because the Pittston Coal Company wanted to take health benefits away from retirees and widows and disabled miners. And what the mine workers realized is if they allowed this to happen, then every other mining company in the country would do exactly the same thing. And so they went out on a strike, and they struck for 10 months, and their salaries were down to nothing, but they weren't going to give up until they got these health care benefits. There was a famous moment about 5 months into the strike when the then president of the UMW, Rich Trumka, who got to be a great friend of ours, sadly, he passed in the last year. At that point, he was the president of the mine workers, and he got asked by the New York Times, your people are suffering, striking, they're earning some benefits through the union, but it's a fraction of their salaries. How long can the mine workers hold out? And he gave one of the best answers ever: 1 day longer than the Pittston Coal Company. That's how long we can hold out. And that's what they did. And in February of 1990, they reached a deal, and the health care benefits of these folks were saved. Well, getting into politics, first at the local level, but especially when I ran for lieutenant governor in 2001, I was kind of the big city mayor. But people down there gave me a chance because they knew I had family ties in Appalachia. And I'd gotten to know them before I was in politics, and the mine workers were so helpful to me. And I have tried over my time in political life to be helpful to them. I put a union president in my cabinet as a governor that they knew very, very well, who had struck with them in 1989. No governor had ever done that. I appointed a miner, a UMW member, to run my state mining safety agency. That agency had always been run by folks from the management side or sometimes from hardworking, kind of professional scientists or bureaucrats, but there had never been a miner running the state mine safety agency until I became governor. And I also worked with mine workers to build a power plant in Virginia City in southwest Virginia to try to show that coal can be done and used much more cleaner than had been in the past. When I came to the Senate in 2013, the economics of mining had changed a lot. Natural gas being so much cheaper had hurt mines. Mechanization of mining reduced the job numbers. We mine about the same amount of coal in Virginia today as we did 50 years ago. We just do it with 1/10 the miners because of mechanization. And the need to bring down our carbon usage to save the planet has definitely been a factor. And I'm proud to say that my miners and their leaders, they understand this. They understand the need for an energy transition, and they embrace it. They just ask that as we do it, we don't leave them behind. And that leads me to this bill. We have made promises to our miners that will protect their health insurance, that will protect their pensions, and that will have a fully funded black lung benefit program to help the many miners, about 1 in 5 in Central Appalachia, whose day in and day out job inhaling coal dust and silica dust exposes them to a horrible pulmonary disease, black lung benefits. We've told them we will have a program for them to take care of the need should they come down with black lung. You'll remember, Madam President, in 2017, because of bankruptcies of coal companies, many were setting up shell corporations to evade their responsibilities to their retirees, just like in Pittston, taking health insurance away from retirees, widows, and disabled miners. Many companies have schemed with the bankruptcy code to do that, and in 2017, the miners' health care program for these retirees was on death's door. I co-sponsored legislation with many colleagues, and we saved the retiree health care program. I'll never forget one of the toughest meetings I've had in public life was going into a mining compact office in Castlewood, Virginia, and sitting down in a room of very nervous people who thought their health care benefits were going to expire within a matter of weeks. But we made a promise to them, and because of Democrats here, and we did get some Republican votes on this as well, we saved health care for retirees, widows, and disabled miners. A couple years later, 2019, the same features of these companies artificially, in many instances, going bankrupt was now not just threatening health care, but also threatening pensions. People who'd worked their whole lives in these dangerous jobs at risk to their health were going to lose their pensions. But in 2019, the American Miners Act, which was also bipartisan, passed this body, and we fixed the nationwide pension program for miners. It helped more than 6,000 Virginians. It helped more than 100,000 miners around the country. That's two. Well, with the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, we can go 3 for 3. We can meet all the promises that we've made to these miners and their families by fixing the black lung benefit program. The preceding speaker talked about raising tax on mines, but he didn't tell the public what this is for. We are raising the excise tax on coal so that we can have a program that will help miners who get black lung disease. And is this just a horribly confiscatory tax? No, let me tell you what this tax will be. We will raise the coal excise tax for coal mined underground to $1.10 a ton. These hardworking miners who are underground exposing themselves to life-risking pulmonary disease, we will raise the tax to $1.10 a ton. And for coal that's mined on the surface, we will raise it to 55 cents a ton to meet the promise that we've made to these hardworking people. This will provide permanent, sufficient funding to maintain the solvency of the fund, and our miners can be assured that the program will be, as they're going underground every day and doing that tough job, they can be assured that the program will be there for them should they get black lung disease. I've been proud to co-sponsor all 3 of these bills, promise made, promise kept, and I want to thank Virginia's coal miners for their friendship, for their patriotism, for their determination, and for never giving up, including never giving up on us. And when we pass the IRA, we'll be able to say, your faith was justified, we got it done. With that, Madam President, I yield the floor. Unanimous consent.